Lawyering outside the lines. Brooke here, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, as many of you know. And so today I'm continuing the theme that we have started since the beginning of the month, talking about mental health. So last week, if you tuned in, Laura kind of shared her story with you and why virtual lawyering is for her and how she got there and the things that it's done for her life. And so today I'm kind of joining you to do the same. If you don't know, if you haven't tuned in, if this is the first time you've been here, if you haven't met me, I'm Brooke Moore. I am the founder of MyVirtual.Lawyer. Um, and I have been virtual lawyering for about over 6 years now. And so my career journey was a little bit of a difficult one. And so I wanted to share how, MVL got started and my process from there and what it's done for me. So uh, I've graduated from law school. I've been practicing law for about a decade now. When I graduated law school, I did the traditional things, took the traditional route, did the things I was supposed to do, tried to work. I actually came out of law school in 2010, so we're in the middle of a big recession. There were not a lot of jobs available to new graduates, especially without experience. And so I was fortunate enough to work with a solo practitioner here in North Little Rock who not only let me kind of bring things in under his firm and taught me some of the basics of lawyering and the things that he knew. I was actually practicing, he was in insurance, plaintiff's insurance subrogation work. And so I had learned that, but he also let me bring in some other things and kind of taught me the business side of things and gave me the confidence to uh, go out on my own. I decided this was something that I could do on my own. And so probably, I guess I was there for about a year. I had my youngest, my daughter, who was about to turn 10 at the end of this year. And so I really was looking for something that was suitable for my life. And I decided that working for myself, I was a little naive at the time, but working for myself would give me the most flexibility, which it does. But at the same time, being an entrepreneur, it's hard work. It's a lot of unpaid for, unthanked time. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of effort. So you really have to be dedicated. It's not instantaneous results. It's a process. And so originally I had kind of set up shop and I was doing my own thing and trying to manage having three small children at the time. My ex-husband's military, and so he was gone a lot even when he wasn't deployed with work. And so it was really kind of difficult for me to sustain a traditional legal career, even, and I say even, but also especially owning my own business. And so I really wasn't able to do all the things that I needed to do or wanted to do with that. And I started getting burnt out really quickly because I had set up shop exactly how everybody else had done it. And I didn't feel like it was very efficient. I didn't have much of a budget to do a lot of things. I spent a lot of time taking on extra contracts. I was dependency neglect counsel for the state for a little bit part time, and I was doing things here and there. Did another part time job working remotely. This was kind of my first introduction to remote work. But I did a job working with a firm out of Pennsylvania doing some Medicaid appeals work, and it was just a lot. It was a lot of stuff for someone to do, especially in my situation with three young children, being in a military family. So I burned out really, really quickly. And I'm a little bit stubborn, so I didn't realize I was burning out. And I didn't realize until I started being hospitalized multiple times for stroke level blood pressure. I was just miserable. I was depressed. I'd gained 60 pounds, and I'm a short gal, so you can't wear a lot of extra weight that easy. Um, so it was really impacting both my physical and my mental health. And, I tried to kind of transition into other positions. I, kind of closed down shop working for myself and transitioned into one of my part-time jobs full-time doing the Medicaid appeal work remotely. And that, kind of helped me learn how to work as a remote team and to set up technology and systems and be efficient. So definitely grateful for that experience. But I had kind of transitioned into that. Um, but it was a very toxic work environment. And that's when I realized that, you know, that was not helpful. That was not where I wanted to be. And it didn't matter, that I was making good money, or I had that flexibility, because that anxiety and stress was there, because it was a very masculine, toxic energy. And so after a little bit of time there, I transitioned to working kind of in a consulting capacity for a friend who was doing some self-directed Medicaid and VA work as a CPA, and she needed someone on her team, in-house counsel, to advise on legal matters. So, it was never intending to stay there full time. It was kind of to help her get that started, because I had background in Medicaid law, and I was a VA accredited attorney, so I was able to give her the perspective and that legal guidance as an in-house counsel. But it was really kind of to figure out what I wanted to do in the interim. And so I decided I was, just going to take back my life. And so I did that for a while. I still hadn't figured out what I wanted to do when my time there ended. So I focused on personal development a little bit. I lost 60 pounds. I started trying to create healthier habits, really trying to figure out what was going to fulfill me mentally, but also allow me to drop the mom guilt and actually be there for my kids, not just because I felt guilty, but because I wanted to be there. And so what I ended up doing was, taking that little bit of time, spending a little bit of time with my kids, and I through some volunteer efforts. What I always say is I had been searching for my purpose, and it was really hard for me to be present in the moment with anyone, because I was so busy. Like, okay, I gotta have a job, I gotta do this, I gotta, have a purpose. And then I thought, I'm just gonna follow my passions, and so I started kind of focusing on serving a purpose. And when I started doing that, I was able to realized that um, there were different alternative ways that you could practice law. There were other ways that you could be involved, because I thought, I've gone through all this. It was a struggle. My ex-husband was deployed and away for work for the military. 2.5 out of the 3 years that I was in law school with 2 small children. And so, and when I took the bar, he was in Afghanistan. So it wasn't the easiest road for me. And I thought, I'm going to do a disservice to myself if I'm not using this degree. And I didn't know that there were alternative paths. But what I decided was there was not a damn thing out there that fit my lifestyle, that was made for me. We're still a traditionalist profession for the most part. We still have, we've made some progress, but we still are not really designed for women. A lot of women, if you don't know, really leave our profession, and because it's not suitable for their lifestyle, essentially. And so that's kind of where I found myself. So I decided I'm going to design something around my lifestyle. I want to be able to help clients, because what I was doing was inefficient. People couldn't afford my fees. I couldn't even afford my own fees if I'd had to hire myself. And I was definitely not, I was new, so my fees were not super expensive. And so, through some volunteer efforts, I kind of found limited scope representation. And I knew that I just wanted to do that exclusively, because what it was going to do, it was transactional. I was going to be able to do that from home. I was going to be able to kind of implement technology to make things more efficient, and kind of work around my schedule. But with that, it's not full representation. So, I was going to have these flat fees. I knew I was going to do that. I wanted to offer payment plans, but also my fees were going to be a little bit lower. So I knew that I needed to, do it in mass. I needed, a bigger caseload to be able to sustain. And so what I ended up doing was a lot of research on how to be a virtual business, not a virtual law firm, because nobody was really doing that. There were people, but definitely not the way I was doing it, definitely not with litigation-based practices. So I kind of made a lot of mistakes, put it together, trial and error. Clients ended up liking it, ended up working for me. And then in retrospect, I realized that what I was actually doing, yes, I'm saying I'm designing this so I can stay meaningfully involved in the practice of law. Yes, I'm designing this because, I am limited in how I can be involved in the profession just because of my personal responsibilities. But also, it was really a well-being initiative for myself. I really recognized that the traditional way that we're taught to practice, the way that practice and law firms are designed, are really not focused on attorney well-being. And so when I started setting boundaries, like you have to schedule on my calendar 24 hours in advance, from the start, I didn't have money, but I paid for an answering service because I wasn't taking incoming calls to interrupt my day so I could manage my day. So, all these little boundaries, time management, all these things that we tend to struggle with as professionals, um, I was trying to solve those pain points. What are my pain points? How can I solve those? On the other side, what are my clients' pain points? How can I solve those? And just kind of meet in the middle. And so, what I started out trying to just create as a business model that made sense that I could actually participate in ended up really being something that was beneficial for my well being. And so from there, I've been able to really decrease my stress, get my health under control, do a lot of self development work, be able to make, decisions on personal pursuits and be involved in other things, be there for my kids. I was able at the time to work around my husband's schedule a little bit better. Uh, so, really what it did for me is kind of give me my life back, make it more holistic. Like work wasn't everything. It was just a piece of my life. If you're looking at work life balance, it's just all one thing. There's really not a scale and a balance, and um, it's really kind of hard to do that. But what it did for me is give me the ability to make work fit into my life so I could live more and live better. Um, but with that, along the way, I've done a lot more self development work, and that kind of leads me to, we're talking about my why here and my story, and why I do this, and how I got here, but also my why not. So I've learned a lot about myself on this journey. Of things that I won't tolerate. If things are not for me, I put them down, I walk away. I say no, because a lot of times that's my best yes, because overcommitment is a problem. Um, I do a lot, and I have, to build things up, a lot of free speaking and free writing, but I've also been able to recognize in myself that some of those feelings that I had prior to finding a better way to practice law, some of the anxiety, some of the pressure comes up in some of those endeavors. And I really enjoy speaking and I enjoy writing. But also anything that I'm putting my time and energy into that takes away from other passions or my family or my friends or other things that I want to do, I also want to be compensated for that. So it's also about stepping up and asking for your worth. It's, yes, you do have to invest in yourself. You do have to give some time to build your brand and to build up where you want to go. But when you get there, you have to be able to set boundaries, and you have to ask for what you want. You have to be able to say, if I'm not getting paid, I'm not going to spend time here, or I'm going to spend less time here, or, I'm going to pass up that opportunity altogether, and also be open to new opportunities. So when you start something, as you go along, you're always growing, you're always learning. I mean, we stop growing and learning, you just die. So you're still doing those things. And when you get, you know, to the point of understanding that that's what it's about, there's not really a destination, it's a journey, then you realize that it's okay if it doesn't look like what it's supposed to, or what you thought it's supposed to look like, or you wanted it to look like, or even what other people are telling you it should look like. I've gotten really good over time and separating business from personal, because nothing is personal. Everything is about the other person you're interacting with, or about some trigger or something you're dealing with. And so for me, business is business. If I'm making a decision in business to leave something, to start something, to do something, it's not a personal decision. It is a business decision. And it's very hard for me because I'm very loyal in every aspect of my life and very committed to everything I do. So, this year was the first time I ever had to say I had committed to a panel. I volunteered my time to be on this panel. I was excited about it. It's a topic that really excites me. But I ended up having strep throat. I felt terrible. My internet was going in and out all that day. And it's the first time in 6 years of being a professional speaker that I just said, I'm sorry. I hate to be last minute. I was grateful that it was a panel. Because I also plan conferences, so I know how much work goes into it. But I'm sorry to be last minute. But all this stuff's happening. I don't have reliable internet. I can barely talk. I have strep throat, and I had to lay that down. And of course, they were very receptive, and I very much appreciated that. But me a couple years ago, I would have just fought through it and stressed out. But at this point, if it's not for me, I'm laying it down. And so, my story is ongoing. My why is ongoing. My why today may be different tomorrow, but ultimately for me, it's all about inner peace. It's about joy. If it doesn't bring me joy, if it doesn't bring me peace, if it's not serving me as much as I'm serving it, then it's not for me. And it's okay to walk away, and you're not responsible for how that makes anybody else feel. And so those are some of the things that I've really learned. So if I had stayed stuck in the mindset of this is what I was supposed to do or how I was supposed to practice law, um, I mean, it would have been a slow death. It would have been, I was already dying inside, and I was making myself sick in so many different ways. And so, um, just allow yourself permission to pursue the things that light you up, even if it looks different, even if it doesn't make sense to other people. Do those things, do them unapologetically, and, really just think about why you're doing what you're doing. It was very validating for me. I don't necessarily need external validation, but I do appreciate it. And I do very much like it. And it was very validating to me. Once COVID happened, it was a struggle to educate people about virtual lawyering, and we got pushed back in the profession a lot. Clients loved it. Other attorneys gave us some problems, but it was very validating to us when the pandemic hit, for people to recognize that this is a legit way to be able to handle law and manage your life and be able to live a fulfilling life and have a fulfilling career. And so once that happened, people came to us and wanted that guidance because we have been doing it for so long. And so I'm very happy to see our profession moving and advancing forward in a way that promotes efficiency, that is client-centric, that focuses on attorney well-being and not just your billable hours, and that's all that you are and that's your value. And so it's very nice seeing people embrace that, allowing flexibility for family, for activities, recognizing the importance of mental health and breaks. And I feel like we're at a really good place in the profession now to highlight those things and talk about those things without them being so taboo. So if you want to drop in the comments, kind of what's your why? What are you doing? Where are you at in your legal career right now? And why do you do it? Ask yourself that. And also, how could changing and shifting to maybe virtual lawyering or some kind of alternative path and really embracing your authentic self and letting yourself pursue your passions and those things that bring you joy, how could that improve your life today? If you just set everything down that wasn't for you and decided that you were going to pursue something that you felt intuitively called to, you were listening to that intuition, what would that mean for you? How could that change your life? So I went kind of long, started kind of late, but I felt like it's really important to talk about not only how we get started, our journey, why we're doing things, but those things you learn along the way, and really the why nots. Why not do some things, why you shouldn't do some things, and why you should give yourself permission to pursue the things that are meant for you. So thanks so much for listening to me drone on today. And I hope you guys have a great week. Next week, we'll be back with more mental health stuff to wrap up the month. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful week, which I think I already said that, but talk soon. Bye.